We just want to make sure that they know they can't beat us and go out there from the beginning of the game and step on them and just be aggressive on defense and offense. And that's what we did today.
Deron Lamb and the Cats not only stepped on, they squashed Baylor. And now, Howie Lindsey, the official colors of the Final Four are red and blue. Can you believe it?
It's awesome. Red and blue. It's a red and blue Final Four. I mean, we couldn't have asked for anything better for the show, for the state, for the city. I mean, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great week.
Now, honestly, we all kind of expected Kentucky to make it, but you've got to be just unbelievably shocked that Louisville has dragged this team all the way now to New Orleans.
I picked it all the way.
No, you didn't.
It is amazing. It is simply amazing that this Louisville team is in the Final Four, made a run all the way through the Big East tournament, made a run all the way through the NCAA tournament, knocked off a #1 seed, knocked off Florida, and that comeback against Florida. I mean, my goodness. A perfect script on the 25th anniversary of the Providence. It's like a storybook.
Yeah, the good news is Kentucky won't have to place Florida for a 4th time, but they will have to face Louisville for a 2nd time. Hey, got a lot to cover, obviously, and we're going to start it right now in our lightning round. The lightning round is brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, reminding you as we all head south to Nolens, click it or ticket. And who's hot for the University of Kentucky is the freshman Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. When Kentucky was wobbling a little bit, he took control of that team and helped Kentucky find its way to the Final Four. He had 17 of Kentucky's first 34 points. He finished the game with 5 fouls, 19 points, and the most outstanding player award here is Darius Miller.
Especially when we needed him. And he's been a huge part of the team throughout the whole season. I mean, it's obvious, and everybody knows that. And we really feed off his energy on offensive and defensive. And he does a great job of getting us going. He's very verbal. He talks to us all the time. I mean, he just gets everybody where they need to be. And he stepped it up. Really started to play like a leader. He's not playing like a freshman anymore. So, and that goes for everybody.
The kid was absolutely fantastic when Kentucky needed him most. As you just heard Darius Miller say, he has not really played like a freshman all year. He has taken control of this team. He is not only a leader on the court, he's been a leader off the court. He's the guy that Kentucky turns to, the players turn to, when not only they need a spark offensively or defensively, but also when they just need some leadership, Howie, in tight spots. He's been an impressive youngster.
He is by far the most easy to root for cat on this entire team. He's so much fun to watch play. He hustles on every play, and he's really the heart and soul of this Kentucky team.
Who's hot for the University of Louisville is not Peyton Siva. It's the other guy, Russ Smith. Peyton Siva fouls out of the game, so with Louisville trailing against Florida, they turn the keys of the car over to Russ Smith, and he drives them all the way to Nolens.
That was probably the biggest. This is probably the biggest win. You don't care. You better be. And this is the biggest. And that was the biggest role I played in my life. Forget all that. Him moving me to point guard just shows how much confidence he had in me to finish the game out. And as a player, I couldn't respect him anymore for that.
And that is Russ Smith from a wild locker room in Phoenix. They were partying. They were throwing hats around and throwing towels around and posing with the trophy, all that kind of thing. Russ Smith was the reason they were able to do that. Scored 19 points. And really, can you imagine the worry of a control freak like Rick Pitino and handing the keys over to Russ Smith the last 4 minutes and say, land the plane, buddy. You know, bring it on home. I mean, we compared it to, handing the keys to a Bentley over. I mean, because it really, with the Final Four on the line, there's just so much. It's such a valuable thing, and Russ brought him home. I mean, he had the one bad turnover, but he's good.
And we mentioned after he was sensational against Kentucky that it looked like Russ Smith would actually leave at the end of last year, and now he has a spectacular game against Kentucky and leads them to a rematch now.
Wow. It's simply cool, and to see his tears of joy after the Big East tournament and then after this last time, he's never had anything like this happen to him in his life, and he's so appreciative.
What's not hot for the University of Kentucky could possibly be an injury to Anthony Davis. If you saw the basketball game in the regional final, he banged his knee into an opposing player's hip. He went down. He did come back and finish the game with another double-double.
Knees doing fine. I just bumped knees with Perry Jones, and started hurting real bad. So, but I knew my team needed me to play. I wasn't going to sit out, especially when it was a trip to the Final Four. I always wanted to go to the Final Four, so I know I needed to come in the game and help my team out. So I decided to come in.
he popped up pretty good. And it may be dinged up a little bit, but he was, he'll get treatment, believe me. He'll get B-Ham and treatment on the plane.
I don't think there's any concerns about Anthony Davis not being able to play this Saturday against Louisville in the semifinal of the national championship game. If he was able to get out on the court and contribute as he did, Kentucky's got a full week of the best medical treatment that money can buy, and the University of Kentucky can bring to bear at this situation. So I don't have any concerns that Kentucky would be anything less than full strength when they beat Louisville, when they meet Louisville,
yes.
Louisville down in New Orleans. Who's not hot for the University of Louisville, we just mentioned it a second ago, is Peyton Siva. He got into foul trouble, got pushed out of the ball game, but Jared Swapshire says the team was not nearly as concerned as perhaps the fans were.
When Siva goes out with 5, what's going through your mind? What's going through? I mean, that had to be almost panic at that point.
I mean, not necessarily, because we have guys, that can step in off the bench. Russ came in, he did a great job of distributing the ball, pressuring the ball, and we can't control the foul call, so we've been able to pull it out.
This is about Peyton Siva. This was really Peyton Siva's team. I know Russ Smith is fantastic, and I know Gorgui Dieng, had some good moments as well. But this is Peyton Siva's team, and so if Louisville's going to have a chance against Kentucky, he can't foul out like that. He just absolutely can't. Granted, it was against a bad switch. He was down there against Patrick Young. It was a bad, whatever. But he had a bad call against him. You can't foul out. You can't foul out against Kentucky. You're too important for this team, and that was a scary moment. Because Louisville's still down at that point.
Right.
I mean, I think everybody in the arena went, oh boy, here it comes.
Yeah. The buzz at the University of Kentucky is the fact that the Cats were down 10-5 very early against a very good Baylor team. Maybe Kentucky fans are starting to panic a little bit, but the Cats then, with their defense, sparked a 16-0 run that early in the ballgame really put this game out of Baylor's grasp.
I just think we got real aggressive on offense and defense and just mentally locked down on defense and just led to fast breaks on offense.
Would have been very easy for this Kentucky basketball team to have folded. They were coming off an emotional win over Indiana, a rematch that went in Kentucky's favor this time. This Baylor team is perhaps undermanned if you look at the recruiting rankings, but it is a very solid Baylor basketball team, and they won their way to this regional final. But Kentucky stepped up. That 16-0 run just really smacked all the life out of Baylor, and it gives Kentucky a chance now to advance to play Louisville with a shot after that for a national championship. Well, with Louisville down 11 and running out of time, it was Kyle Kirk who stepped up and made an impassioned plea to his teammates that sparked Louisville into New Orleans.
I think in this game it was kind of like calls were going our way, shots were going in, just everything that could go wrong was going wrong, and then coach got the technical for yelling at probably Russ or something like that. He was yelling at our player, got technical. So it was kind of like the last straw. It was like, okay, they're not going to give it to us. We have to fight and win it.
There's an old saying that when a quiet person speaks, you better listen, because it's probably important. And that's what happened with Kyle Kirk. He is not a vocal guy. He's not a rah-rah guy in the huddle. He doesn't yell a lot. He doesn't even talk a lot. I mean, he didn't talk at all for the first 2 years. Louisville down 11. Peyton Siva's in foul trouble. Rick Pitino gets a technical for a dubious reason, by the way. And they bring the huddle together, and Kyle Kirk says, listen, everything's going against us. We have to take this. Nobody's going to give this to us. They don't care that we're the higher seed. We have to go and take this. And they did. And I talked with Shane Bohannon, I talked with Russ Smith, and they both said they're just floored that Kyle Kirk would step up and say something like that. They're like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll go do it.
Well, let's hear what Howie has to say about this off our red and blue Facebook fan poll. There's this posting that says, amazing that Rick has this team in the Final Four. Big East tournament is the best prep for the NCAA tournament. And Howie, if you look back at the last 3 years, that really does bear itself out, doesn't it?
That is an amazing stat. That the last 3 years, the Big East champion has also gone on to the Final Four. But you're thinking about, in the Big East round of 8, those are all NCAA tournament teams.
Yeah.
So you've got to prepare like an NCAA tournament. That's essentially a Sweet 16 round because you've got some 1 seeds in there, you've got some 2 seeds in there. So you've got a Sweet 16 round twice. So it is great preparation. And if somebody had told me, though, before this tournament that Louisville was going to be the one to do that, I wouldn't have picked it.
Now, thing for Kentucky fans to be careful about, I mean, think about it. West Virginia won the Big East, they eliminated Kentucky. Connecticut won the Big East, they eliminated Kentucky. Louisville won the Big East. This week they play Kentucky. So
Interesting.
A lot of things going on.
Interesting.
Hey, let me invite you to get involved with the Special Olympics of Kentucky Give 'em 10 program. All you have to do is grab your cell phone, text SOKY to 80888, and you will make a $10 donation to benefit Special Olympics of Kentucky. Well, as we've said, Kentucky's already beaten Louisville once. Do the Cards really want a rematch? We'll talk about that when we come back. As we head to the break, just remind you, Daryl's got great coverage. He is in Atlanta. He is still in Atlanta at this hour, working on stories about the Cats and the Cards heading to the Final Four. You can go to catspaws.com to get all the information you want for Kentucky as they meet Louisville in New Orleans with a national championship game berth on the line.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford, on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
Hi, I'm Kevin Renfro, owner of the Becker Law Office. Our focus is personal injury law. I've been asked if that means just car wrecks. Not at all. We help people who have been injured because of unsafe conditions, product defects, drug side effects, denial of disability benefits, and other tragic injuries. No matter how you've been injured, call the Becker Law Office.
Serious, experienced, results. Call the Becker Law Office for a free evaluation. Just dial 3s.
We're the Secret family. Our family is just like yours.
We have a lot to be thankful for.
We used to take a lot of things for granted, including each other.
Until one day,
when in an instant,
a drunk driver almost took it all away. Now we cherish every moment together.
We have to.
Because we might not be as lucky next time.
What about you? It happened to us.
It can happen to you.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
I'm going to bed. Now, everybody go to bed and relax. So he tells me this morning, a bunch of people called or tweeted back that, I couldn't sleep all night, Coach. I tossed and turned all night. These people are crazy.
There will be no sleeping, no work. Nothing is going to happen in the Commonwealth for the next week. Gupper and Howie back here on the Red Blue Review. Daryl is slaving away in the Georgia Dome as he is wrapping up his coverage of the Cats, winning that regional final, advancing on to play Louisville.
You got it.
In the Final Four. That's coming up in New Orleans, and we're going to talk about that and all kinds of stuff right now in our Game Time storyline. Folks across America just don't get it. I was in Tennessee over the weekend when the Louisville game was on. I go into this building expecting I'll be able to watch the basketball game. They had golf on in Tennessee.
Come on.
People do not understand how much we love basketball in this state. But Cal says, yeah, this Kentucky versus Louisville matchup in the Final Four really is that big.
It is in our state. It is. And they have a great program. We're in 2 different leagues. The city of Louisville drives our state. The University of Louisville drives that city. So it's a very important thing for our state, and it's important that school does well. It's important for our state. I mean, literally, they drive our state. We're so close. But, you know, they have a great program. They're well coached.
How about Kentucky having 2 rematches in the last 3 games of the NCAA tournament? An emotional win over Indiana down in Atlanta to get them to the regional final. Then they take out the Baylor team and then Howie. Now Kentucky has the daunting task of facing the Louisville team, which could arguably be called the hottest team in the country right now. And that's going to be a tall order for them, having to beat Louisville twice in 1 year.
It's just music to my ears to hear John Calipari mention Louisville, you know, what about this Louisville doesn't exist stuff, and he's talking about how great Louisville is and how it runs the city and it runs the state and all that. I can listen to that all day.
Well, you're going to be listening to it all week. One of the game time storylines for Louisville that got them into the national championship game was shutting down the good three-point shooting team that is the Florida Gators. In the first half, Florida made 8 of the 11 threes they put up. In the second half, 0 for 9, and that defense pushed the Cardinals past the Gators.
A back and forth game at times, but we just fought and fought and fought until they kind of got tired at the 6-minute mark, I would say, and then we had our run. I think it was a 18-3 run or something like that. And, but we take nothing away from them. They play way better than us today. They're a great basketball team. They can shoot the light.
I read an interesting article a couple years back, and I've read it reprised several times since then, that the age of conditioning in college basketball is over, given all the different timeouts. That there's so much TV timeout, all that kind of thing. All I know is that I saw a Michigan State team look really tired the last 5 minutes, and I saw a Florida team look really tired the last 5 minutes. So I agree that there are way too many TV timeouts, that it does detract from the game. You can't tire an opponent out. But Louisville did it. Yeah. I mean, I saw it with 2 different opponents in a row.
Howie, let me tell you where else that is a factor. One of the things I noticed sitting courtside when Kentucky was playing Indiana the other night is both players on both teams were exhausted in the first few minutes of the ball game because the emotionally charged environment, and we're going to have the same thing coming up this weekend in New Orleans, that saps teams early on.
Absolutely. That much energy and that much focus it's very difficult.
Aggravation. It's hard to imagine that John Calipari has led his team to back-to-back Final Fours, but he has a sense of aggravation, and Cal says, though, he does.
But there were some things that aggravated me today. But let me tell you why. When you look at my point guard, Marcus Teague, I want everybody in the country to say, I cannot believe how far he's come. That kid is a true point guard that runs the team, makes easy plays. He is outstanding. When you look at Michael Gilchrist, when you look at Darius Miller, I want you to say certain things, and when I don't see them out there, it aggravates me. Deron Lamb, more motor kid, more motor. Like he started like no motor, like these guys aren't playing. And then he came back and played better, but when he has a motor, I'm saying it again, he's as good as any guard in the country.
So with that as a backdrop, it's almost as though a Kentucky team that may have been, dare I say, just a tad bit flat in the persona of Deron Lamb still managed to embarrass this Baylor basketball team. I've said all along, this is one of the best college basketball teams I've ever covered. And I mean by the whole package. Not only are they talented, the way they carry themselves, we've had coach after coach after coach this year laud this Kentucky team by the fact that they don't talk trash. They just come out there and play their game. They go home. They typically win. But if this Kentucky team does get all of those pieces lined up and flowing together, nobody's going to stop them, including Louisville or Kansas or Ohio State or whoever is in that other side of the bracket. But Louisville is up for that challenge. Chris Smith was saying this past week that he had a dream that Kentucky and Louisville were going to meet again, and they are going to meet again, this time in the Final Four.
Oh, I'm looking forward to playing them. We owe them something, I feel like they stole the game from us up there, but at the same time, we're on a neutral court, and it's anybody's game. Oh, we will play in the Final Four. I have belief that we will play them in the Final Four. I had a dream about it, so that's how I know.
I came away from that locker room just a little uneasy because player after player were saying, we want Kentucky. We want them. We want them again. We want to see them again in this tournament. We want another shot at them. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, don't poke the bear. Like if you see a bear out in the woods, just admire it for what it is. Don't throw rocks at it. Or if you're going to try to kill the bear, sneak up on it. Don't announce your presence, which is essentially what Louisville's doing here by saying we want Kentucky and we've got business with them and all that kind of thing. That's one thing. The other side of that is that shows just how confident this Louisville team is. I mean, Kentucky's just mauling opponents, and these Louisville guys are like, we want that. We want to get in there. We want to get after them. Louisville's a very confident team.
We all want this. We all want
Yeah, we
Kentucky
do.
and Louisville playing in the Final Four, and we're going to get it coming up this week. When we come back, we'll get Tom Crean's perspective on who really was the difference maker for #1 Kentucky this year. As we head to the break, the guy who may be covering future #1 Louisville could do it, could win a national championship, is going to tell us about CardinalSports.com.
You got it. Heading into New Orleans later this week, and you're going to get all the coverage at CardinalSports.com. We'll have video, we'll have postings, we'll have quotes, we'll have post-game stories. 2 of our stories from this past week were posted on the Yahoo Sports national page and got thousands and thousands and thousands of hits, and that's right at CardinalSports.com. So be sure to check that out this week. We've got a 7-day free trial, which perfectly fits this week.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Edge or Explorer. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
If you're like me, you're dreading the thought of higher energy costs this season. That's why I call my friends at Doug Jones Home Improvement, who's been doing quality work at a fair price for over 40 years. Doug Jones Home Improvement offers maintenance-free replacement windows, insulated vinyl siding, and airtight entry doors. They're priced fairly with no high-pressure sales tactics or hidden fees. Doug Jones Home Improvement prides itself on keeping the weather outside while keeping you comfortable inside.
For a free estimate, call us at 366-0291.
When you visit Kentucky and savor some of its unique experiences, you'll be surprised by how much your vacation really comes to life. To plan your Kentucky vacation, call today or visit KentuckyTourism.com.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card featuring Chariot Run, Bardstown Country Club at Maywood, Rosewood Country Club, Indian Springs, Cave Valley Golf Resort, the Falls Golf Resort, the Bull, and Stonecrest Golf Course is available now. Get your golf tour card and play 8 great courses with cart for one low price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. You can play anytime, but you must get your golf tour card now.
We've been tracking difference makers all this season, and I asked Tom Crean after Indiana fell to Kentucky, who really has been the difference maker for this Kentucky program this year, and he says it is Coach Cal.
They've got great players, and there's no question about it, and they've got a great team. And it starts with John. I mean, how good a coach he is, and that coaching staff that he's got. I mean, you don't, to have that much talent and to get them to play that hard, that long, all year long, that says a lot.
Well, I think we can finally put away all those storylines we've had about John just being a recruiter and just rolls the ball out. He has had too much success with too many different teams, too many different players over the last 3 years. You think about how they have recycled athletes around there, and really Darius Miller is the only guy that has longevity on this program, and yet year after year, Cal finds a way to take people like Anthony Davis and Darius Miller and all these other pieces and meld them into a team, and once again, he has a team going to the Final Four. For the University of Louisville, Richard Pitino came to Louisville to be with his dad to help coach this team, to help it move back to the glorious destination that Louisville fans rightly think it should be. And thanks to Richard Pitino, Louisville is right back in the Final Four.
I was just so happy for him, just to get another Final Four. That is, it's probably all downhill from here for me in this profession, but that's why you get into it, and that's why I came to work for him, was in hopes of one day doing that. And that really is as special a moment as I've ever had.
They couldn't have wrote it up any better. I mean, for Richard to get a chance to coach against his former team in Florida and help his father return to the Final Four after a 7-year absence, and it was a storybook kind of game. It was a storybook celebration. These guys were absolutely wild in the post game, and from Richard's standpoint, that's really what they talked about when they brought him back. They said, "Listen, our entire staff is leaving. Steve Mass is going. All these guys are going. We need stability there, and we need you to come in and be the scout." And he has been this entire season. Richard Pitino's done 90%, 95% of the scouts, including Florida, including New Mexico. And he's been a huge difference maker for Louisville.
Howie, about 45 seconds left in the show. What is a bigger shock to you, this team making the Final Four or that 2005 team making it?
It's a good question. They were both 4 seeds, but there's a huge difference there. That 4 seed in 2005, I think they were ranked 4th in the country. They were a really good team. They were just in Conference USA, and they didn't get a whole lot of respect. And this team lost 4 out of the last 6. One of the wins was an overtime win against DePaul. I mean, 2005 should have, not should have gone to a Final Four, but it's not all that surprising. This team is a big surprise.
Well, it's no surprise to us that in the epicenter of college basketball, we have 2 teams heading to New Orleans, and we're going with them. The Cats and the Cards heading to New Orleans. One of those teams will play for a national championship right here on the Red and Blue Review.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card featuring Chariot Run, Bardstown Country Club at Maywood, Rosewood Country Club, Indian Springs, Cave Valley Golf Resort, the Falls Golf Resort, the Bull, and Stonecrest Golf Course is available now. Get your golf tour card and play 8 great courses with cart for one low price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. You can play anytime, but you must get your golf tour card now.